Most people assume that when someone becomes quieter with age, something must have gone wrong in their life. Maybe they became emotionally distant. Maybe they lost motivation. Maybe they stopped caring about people altogether. But psychology suggests something very different. Sometimes highly intelligent people slowly stop trying to fit in because they finally realize how much energy it takes to constantly perform a version of themselves that other people can comfortably understand. And once a person notices that, it becomes impossible to ignore. At first, they usually try hard to belong. They socialize normally. They participate in conversations. They try to relate to everyone around them. They laugh at things they do not find funny. They hide parts of their personality to avoid standing out too much. But deep down, something always feels slightly off, because their mind naturally operates at a different depth. While most people focus on appearances, status, and surface-level interaction, highly self-aware people tend to notice patterns underneath everything. They notice contradictions in people's behavior, hidden insecurity behind confidence, emotional motives behind simple words, fake politeness, forced personalities, social performances. And after years of seeing these patterns constantly, ordinary interaction can start feeling mentally exhausting. Not because they hate people, because their brain never fully stops analyzing what is happening underneath the conversation. This is one reason intelligent people often become more selective with age. They stop chasing attention, stop forcing friendships, stop explaining themselves to people who only half listen. Not out of arrogance, out of emotional exhaustion. Carl Jung believed that one of the biggest psychological turning points in life happens when a person begins separating who they truly are from who society expects them to be. Most people spend their entire lives following invisible scripts. Go to school, get approval, follow trends, stay agreeable, fit in socially, avoid rejection. And many people never stop to question whether those desires are actually their own. But highly reflective people usually do. At some point, they begin noticing how much human behavior is driven by fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being excluded, fear of appearing different, fear of disappointing others. And once someone becomes deeply aware of that pattern, social environments begin to feel very different. Because now they can see how much of everyday interaction is based on performance rather than honesty. That realization quietly changes a person. They start speaking less, observing more, protecting their energy more carefully. Not because they believe they are better than others, because constant superficial interaction starts feeling emotionally draining. There is also another hidden burden that rarely gets talked about directly. Highly intelligent people often experience what psychologists sometimes describe as cognitive loneliness. Not physical loneliness, mental loneliness. It is the feeling of constantly translating your thoughts into simpler versions so other people can follow along. You simplify your ideas, reduce your curiosity, hold back deeper observations, pretend certain questions do not matter to you. And after doing this long enough, many people begin feeling disconnected from themselves because they are no longer expressing their real depth consistently. This is why solitude starts becoming attractive. For the first time, they can think naturally without shrinking themselves. No performance, no social mask, no need to constantly adjust their personality to match the room. Just silence. And silence gives the mind room to breathe again. Modern society treats silence like a problem. People are taught to constantly stay distracted, always scrolling, always talking, always reacting. But intelligent minds often crave the opposite: space, stillness, freedom from noise, because deep thinking requires uninterrupted mental space. History reflects this pattern constantly. Some of the most influential thinkers, writers, scientists, and philosophers spent large periods of their lives isolated from the crowd, not because isolation damaged them, because solitude allowed them to fully develop their ideas without constant social pressure. And there is another uncomfortable truth most people avoid discussing. Highly intelligent individuals unintentionally make others uncomfortable. Not deliberately, simply because clear thinking exposes weak thinking. When someone questions assumptions confidently, many people interpret it as a threat to their identity. That is why intelligent people are often labeled too intense, too quiet, too serious, overthinking everything. But psychologically, those labels are often defense mechanisms. People feel comfortable around predictability. Someone who thinks differently forces others to confront ideas they normally avoid. And not everyone likes that feeling. Over time, many intelligent people notice this pattern repeating everywhere: at work, in friendships, in family dynamics, in social groups. So eventually, they stop asking, "How can I fit in better?" and begin asking something far more important: "Why am I trying so hard to belong in environments that drain me?" That question changes everything, because fitting in usually requires reducing parts of yourself. Real belonging does not. Real belonging allows honesty, curiosity, depth, silence, complexity, without punishment. So if you have been feeling yourself slowly pulling away from certain people lately, if forced conversations exhaust you, if solitude feels more peaceful than social approval, if you feel more alive working on your own ideas than trying to impress crowds, it does not automatically mean something is wrong with you. It may simply mean your mind is becoming more aware of what genuinely nourishes it psychologically. And once a person reaches that level of awareness, pretending becomes much harder to tolerate. Eventually, intelligent people realize something that changes their entire life. Peace is more valuable than approval. And the moment you truly understand that, you stop forcing yourself to fit inside places that only accept smaller versions of who you are.